redefine again this particular term of the viscosity. So as we all know that, the viscosity is defined as a property of the fluid. As we all know that the viscosity is defined as a property of the fluid which offers resistance to the fluid motion, So viscosity is defined as a property of the fluid which offers resistance to the fluid motion. And units of the viscosity, even I don't remember. I remember only the formula for the formula of the shear stress. So that is tau is equal to mu into du by dy. So from that one we can obtain what is the units for the viscosity. So I can obtain what is the units for the viscosity. But if somebody asks me to talk about the viscosity in terms of the shear stress, if someone tells me derive this viscosity in terms of the shear stress, then how we can address is, since we already know that from the Newtonian laws or from the Newton's law of viscosity, so we know that the tau is proportional to the velocity gradient, tau is proportional to du by dy. So where to remove the proportionality we are placed with a mu. So where mu is the dynamic viscosity coefficient in that. So that mu only here it is being asked. So that mu is equal to tau by du by dy. So that is actually our formula related to the shear stress and the velocity gradient in relation to the viscosity. Right. So this animation shows us that, so the viscosity property, as we are stating that it is a viscosity, the property of the fluid, as we are saying that viscosity is the property of the fluid. So here we can see when the particle or when the solid is kept and fallen into this particular one, we can see that, so one which is very highly viscous, the one liquid which is very highly in viscous, so that is not exhibiting any characteristics of fluid which is being falling out from the domain or falling out from that particular volume. It has just taken that particular whatever the solid volume kept inside, has slowly immersed or submerged into the fluid. But whereas the viscosity, so that means in the second case where it is showing the blue image, it is having a highly viscous fluid, and whereas the first one which is shown within a white image, so there in that one it is showing the low viscous property. So in the low viscous property, the fluid has been splashed out. From that one. So that is making different from that particular one. So here the viscosity matters a lot. So what is our understanding from this one is the viscosity matters a lot as with respect to, so as also the fluid is at the static position only, but the viscosity has resulted in the variation of the fluid flow behavior. Now, so in continuation to this particular viscosity, let us take it further. So like today we are even interested about this defining what exactly the buoyancy force is. But prior to that one, we should know about the density. As we all know that the density is a ratio of mass per unit volume. Now again the question comes, sir, if you know the density, why you have related to the density and the buoyant force? Why can't we directly talk about the buoyant force? Yes, that is also we'll look at in this session. Okay, so as far as the buoyancy or the buoyant force is concerned, it is a force exerted. On the fluid body or on the solid body. Sorry. Buoyant force is a force exerted on the body in the exactly upward direction from the fluid where it is being placing inside. If the body is placed inside the fluid in this direction, so exactly the opposite direction the buoyant force will be acting. So from the bottom, the buoyant force is trying to act in the upward direction. So that where it has been exhibited, so it is exhibiting from the water. So that means the buoyant force is the upward force which is exerted by a liquid on the object immersed into the fluid. Or it is completely immersed or partially immersed. Both the cases, the buoyancy force will be acting over it. Right, and these buoyant forces will make the object to float on. In some cases, the buoyancy force will make that particular object to float it. Right. So now it's the question comes, for a floating object, so if it exactly matches to that particular force equal to the body weight, then it is allowed to float it on the surface of it. Where if the body weight is greater than the buoyancy force, the body weight is greater than the buoyancy force, then the object will be trying to sink down in that water. Then the object will try and sink down inside the water. Okay. The next. So here, what exactly matters is weight of the body. Weight of the body, if it is less than the buoyancy force, if the weight of the body is less than the buoyancy force, then the object can float on water. Right. So now the next question comes. So how do I know how much is the buoyancy force acting on that particular body, and how can I make that object to float on a water or completely sink inside the water? This is the next question we come to. So here actually the weight matters a lot. The weight matters a lot, and weight, and another one is that weight we are going to discuss it as in a density. So the density is playing a key role in this particular buoyancy force resulting. Density plays a key role in resulting in the density, in resulting in the buoyancy force. Now again the question comes, how the density is relating to this one is, so here in this formula you can see the force of gravity, that's the force of weight of the object, force of the weight of the object to the ratio of force of buoyancy. The force of weight of the object to the force of buoyancy is equivalent to the force of the is equivalent to the density of the object. So here O represents the object, here rho naught represents the density of the object to the density of fluid, to the density of fluid. So from this we can easily calculate what is the force of buoyancy. What is the force of buoyancy? The force of buoyancy from this one resulting, the force of buoyancy is nothing but force of gravity, that is force of weight into the density of the fluid divided by the density of the object. So that gives exactly our force of buoyancy. If our force of buoyancy is higher, if our force of buoyancy is higher, definitely the object will be floating. If the force of buoyancy is lower, the object will not float there. The object will not float there. Right. Now, if the question comes, sir, some objects will be partially floating and partially submerged into it. So let us see with a clear picture here in this screen. Right. So we'll have a visualization by the animations here on the screen. You just see. So on screen, what I'm showing you is, or on screen what is available here in this one. So completely a flask is filled with water. Completely a flask is filled with water. Here you can see it is filled with completely exactly the level equivalent to this one. So if you have even little bit water, if it is raised also, that is being collected in the second flask. That will be collected in the second flask. Now what I am doing is here on the yellow shaded one. Here the yellow shaded one, here you can see that this solid one, this solid material I am going to immerse into this flask. This solid material I am going to immerse into this flask. So let us see what exactly happens when you are immersing a solid flask into this one. When you are immersing a solid flask into this one, so what it is going to happen, let us analyze, so that then we are again going to discuss about this, what exactly the buoyancy force is. Then exactly we can relate. So here we can see that the solid object will be immersed into this one. So in this animation, see here. So when the solid object has been immersed into this fluid, whenever the solid object has been immersed into the fluid, so what happens? The fluid level will be rising up because there is an opening. The fluid which has been raised up has been collected in the other flask. The fluid which has been raised by immersing the solid, here you have to notice that exactly it is equivalent to the surface of it. So till the surface of the water, I have immersed this solid object into it. Now, so now the water, because of this solid object immersing into the water, so the water will become excess, and that water excess is being collected into the another flask. That excess water is being collected into the another flask. Now whatever the water collected in the another flask, the weight equivalent, so the water I have collected in the other flask, so the weight equivalent in the other flask is nothing but defining my force of buoyancy. Defining my force of buoyancy. Here, this is an animation. Here you can see that the Archimedes principle. Here you can see in this Archimedes principle, there is a solid weight immersed into this one, and when the solid weight is immersed, 2 kg of water is being collected in the other bowl. 2 kg of water is being collected in the other bowl, right? So that 2 kg of water bowl, so what exactly it is showing, what is indicating here in this one, 2 kg of water, what it is indicating when we are immersing the solid object in this one, so that is indicating the force of buoyancy, that is indicating the force of buoyancy acting on that particular fluid. That indicates the force of buoyancy acting on that particular fluid element. So as far as this object is being considered, so whenever it is immersed into this particular fluid, the water which is being collected on the other side, it is exactly talking about the force of buoyancy which has acted on this solid body, so that when you collect that water and weigh it, so that is giving you the exactly the force of buoyancy. And another point here we need to note it is, another point we have to note it here in this one is the volume also matters on the buoyancy force. The volume also matters on the buoyancy force. Now, how exactly the volume is related here in this question is, so let us go back and look at this one. Let us go back and look at this particular force of buoyancy and the force of weight, and that is to the density of the object to the density of the fluid. Now, so here when we are immersing directly into the water, so that we have said that whatever the water weight or whatever the weight it is being collected, so that is exactly equivalent to the force of buoyancy. That is exactly equivalent to the force of buoyancy. Now, whereas the density is concerned, so the density is actually the ratio of mass by volume. Density is actually ratio of mass by volume. So if the same weight of this water, it is weight, water weight has 2 kg, water weight of 2 kg. If this, for example, if the object is completely immersed inside, for example, assume that it is a complete metal surface which is weighing a 2 kg, but in that 2 kg of the metal, if I make a different shape like in a boat, if I make a shape like in a boat, when I keep it on the surface of it, the boat bottom surface will be immersed partially and only less water will be collected on it. So then in that case, the force of buoyancy is again varying. In that case, the force of buoyancy is varying. So that means here the density which is accounting in our result, here the density which is accounting in our result is the ratio of mass by volume. So the volume occupied is also very important in that case. So when you expand this formula of density, you can relate even within a volume, and this volume plays a key role in terms of the buoyancy, because we can see that large heavyweight ships are floating on water.